Hello and welcome to another video. In today's episode I am going to show you my DWM setup. So it has been for about a month since I switched to DWM as my default graphical environment full-time on my Arch Linux setup. Before that I was using the Cinnamon desktop environment, and before that I was using Budgie. And I also used Windows, and I still use Windows at work. So this is my first journey into the window manager paradigm, and I am quite a newbie with window managers. So I wanted to show you how I did my setup. I did some experimenting with this, and after this about 1 month of using it, I am quite satisfied with it. So maybe if you just want to take a journey, want to dip your toe in the world of window managers, maybe this setup would be helpful for you. Maybe you can get some ideas on how you want to set up your own window manager. So first I wanted to go through the patches that I installed on DWM, and if you are following my channel, you might have seen my DWM tutorials. So I'm not going to show you exactly how to install everything that I'm doing here. I'm just going to show you my setup, and if you are interested in a specific part of this, how to install it, or you just want me to go through the whole process of setting up my system in a virtual machine, and you are interested in that, just put your questions and requests down there in the comment section, and depending on your opinions, I might consider just setting this system up from nothing. But first of all, I recommend using the focus on click patch. I already talk about this patch a lot in my installation video, because in default DWM would focus on the window you hover your mouse over, but as someone who's been using a desktop environment for a long time, this would be very disturbing for me, but now I have to click on the windows for them to be activated. So in floating mode, this is not really like the best way, because you can see even though I focused on the window, it did not get into the foreground. I have to use my keyboard to bring the windows to the foreground. But in any case, in a tiling mode, it doesn't really matter. But it's good that you have to click on things so that they get in focus at all. And the next patch is the Fibonacci layout, which I also used in the tutorial for installing DWM. And well, this layout has turned out actually a lot less useful than I first thought. Actually, this layout, I think I saw it in Luke Smith's tutorial like 2 years ago or around that time. And I really liked the idea of this layout, but I never used it since I installed DWM. So I don't know, other layouts, the tiling layout and the monocle layout and the floating layout, the three default layouts are just perfect for me for everything that I was using my system. Autostart is another good patch to have, especially if you use DWM alongside another graphical environment. So I still have installed Cinnamon on my system. I did not log into Cinnamon for quite a while, but you know, if I screw up DWM somehow and it won't work, I just still have my backup. And anyway, so Autostart lets you create this autostart.sh file, which will just, it's a script. What I don't know that, it doesn't write it here. So when you install it, you should always just follow these descriptions. You can see these are kind of short descriptions here. But this one, it doesn't mention that if you make these files, the autostart blocking.sh or autostart.sh, for these to work, you have to give the executable permission to these script files. So it's something that I forgot, and in that case it won't run, and you might not understand why it's not working. So make sure to make these scripts executable in your file manager or from the terminal. And you don't have to use the .dwm directory, because we live in the 21st century and we have the XDG base directory specifications, so it's better to just put this in the .local/share/DWM. I think let's try to minimize the .files and .directories in our home directory, but let's not go down that rabbit hole this time. The fourth and final patch that I applied to my DWM setup is the Xfce for panel. And well, if you can see if I go to my full screen here, you can see on my top right corner, if I just go, let's enlarge that, you can see that I have this Xfce panel on my top right corner. It's almost seamlessly integrated into the title bar of the window manager. And so, because I am coming from a desktop environment, I like to have my systray up and the clock up there, and all the applications I'm running like Nextcloud and Variety, and you can see even the OBS now recording is there, my keyboard layout switcher, the the network manager and the Bluetooth connectivity, all are up there, and you can also have an application menu if you wanted to use that. So for this, you have to follow the instructions very carefully, because otherwise this little panel will appear some very weird places. But fortunately, this description on the Suckless website, so you can just go to the website of the DWM and the patches, and then find Xfce for panel to find these installation instructions. So after applying the patch and how to apply the patch, you can see my previous video on that. You have to install Xfce for panel from the repositories. If your other desktop environment, so in my case, the other desktop environment is a Cinnamon, but Cinnamon's panel is just now we're gonna work with DWM. So I just installed the Xfce for panel. I think if I just jump in my console here, then if I say pacman-qi Xfce panel, Xfce4-panel is the package name. You can install this package by itself without installing everything else for the Xfce desktop environment, and you can put it in the Autostart. So this is one of the things I put in my Autostart, this command to start the Xfce panel. And then you will find all the configuration information here, and you should follow this, so just read it very carefully. If you want me to do a tutorial on this, as I just said, just tell me down in the comment section and I might do it. But it's very well written, so if you just read this through and follow it through, if you installed Arch Linux, you should be able to, you should have practice following text-based installation instructions, I guess. So after that, we talked about my my patches. Let me just jump into here and let's just talk about how my the config.h looks like. So of course you can modify the configuration of your DWM in the source code of this file, the config.h file. I talked about this in my previous videos. You can see that this Xfce panel got inserted here by a patch. So patches will modify your default configuration quite a while, but you can add your own things. So here in the rules section, what I did is I added, so GIMP, I don't really use GIMP, but anyways, I don't even have it installed right now. But this is kind of in the default setup, so I just did not delete it. I use Spider as an IDE for Python development. I use Audacity, OBS recording, Audacity for making my sound track a little, or the audio track a little more bearable for you to listen to. I use Blender, and I have the Nextcloud applet and also transmission. These are few apps I want to appear on specific tags, and if you don't know what tags are, so yeah, let's go here. Tags are these 9 numbers up there. So this is kind of your virtual desktops in DWM, and the tag mask is something very confusing because it is some kind of the bitwise operation. You can read the description of this on the Suckless website. I think it is somewhere in the DWM's website. Let's see where it is. You have to go to customization here on the left, and there will it will rules down there, rules, and it will explain how these rules work. But in general, just very simple terms is if I just make this here, this will make it so this is 1, and this what is this kind of less than symbol, and the 1, this will make spider always appear on tag number 2. So it's kind of like tag number 1 is moved was moved 1 place, and if you move that 1 place, that's going to be tag number 2. But yeah, this is not how it works actually. But what you should know is that you use the number that is 1 less than the actual tag number here. As confusing as it sounds. So spider will always appear on tag number 2, Audacity tag number 3, OBS tag number 4, and also you can see that the monitor here is -1 for most, which means whatever monitor you are focused on at the moment, that's where the application will open, and using this monitor 1, that will make it appear on my secondary monitor. So OBS will always appear on my small monitor because I am recording my big monitor, so I don't want OBS to be on the big monitor, I want it to be on a small monitor. And the same for Nextcloud and the transmission, those are always sent to the small monitor and always to the last tag, so they just don't bother me because I don't want to look at them. So Nextcloud, I need to run the Nextcloud applet at startup, and it opens up the applet by default, and I don't want it to be on the tag that I am looking at when I start up the system. So that's the rationale behind that. And this panel, this is for the Xfce panel, this is added by that patch. What else? You can see that monocle and the spiral and the window layouts are here from the the Fibonacci patch, and you can see that I use both the mode 4 mask, that's my default mode key, which is the Windows key or super key, and mode key 2 is mode 1 mask, which is the Alt key. So for some things I use Alt. And what else? Let's go down. These are my commands. So you can see that I added quite a few commands. So I have a lock cmd, I use that, the light locker, I installed light locker because I use lightdm as my display manager, so I can just use the light locker command --lock to lock my system. I have a power cmd and a print screen cmd command, which are just shell scripts I wrote. This one is actually, I think I stole this idea from Linux Hamster. I will leave a link to the video of Linux Hamster. So this is going to give me a power menu. This print screen command will just take a screenshot of my screen. And the terminal command is running st, simple terminal, file cmd. I use the Nemo file manager at this point, but I might change that in the future. I have Firefox as my web browser, and I also have a Firefox private window command added here. IDE command is spider, Audacity, OBS, Blender, and the pulse audio volume control. These are the commands that I assign to the, different variables here. Of course, like the menu is, this is kind of the default. It's in the default settings, so you will have that one. And then here are all the key combinations that I have. You can see that what I try to achieve here is to have all my keys that are starting some program on the left-hand side of my keyboard. So I always start programs with my left hand, and window manager specific things are on the right-hand side. So I use my right hand to do that. And so I definitely added a lot of my programs here. These are all on the left-hand side. And then I modified the window manager specific keys, like you can see that I use the screen lock as the Windows Shift N, for example, and where is it? Kill client, so that's Windows Shift M. That's also on the right bottom to close a window. I also use Alt F4 for that. Same. I also made the Alt Tab and Alt Shift Tab to switch between windows, just for the sake of that's what I got used to on Windows. But I also can use the J and K, which is the defaults from DWM, and you can see that all my layout keys are on the top right hand side, and this Z shouldn't confuse you because I don't use the QWERTY layout, I use the QWERTZ layout, so Z is actually on my top row and on the right hand side. So these are my layout keys, and the monitor is just the same as the default with the dot and the comma keys. Tag keys I have not changed, and I changed this. This is basically just quits DWM. I just changed it to the Windows Shift Escape combination instead of the I think it's a Windows Shift Q. I use Windows Shift Q instead to open up my my menu. So you can see that by putting everything on the left hand side, I just use Q for D menu and Shift Q for the power command. And we can actually take a look at, I think, let me just clear this, and if I can take a look at my, what is it, bin slash screenshot.sh is just very simple. It's just going to use this import command, which you have to install ImageMagick for this to work. Then this will take a screenshot, and my bin slash power menu. This is what I just got it from the Linux Hamster YouTube channel. This is I have shutdown, restart, lock, and shutdown in 90 minutes, and cancel. And this is also powered by D menu, of course. And what else? What else do we have? Yeah, we also can take a look at my Autostart script, which I already did that somewhere. Yeah, this is my Autostart script. I use PyCom as the the compositor, but the PyCom's default settings are like something I really don't like, so I just removed a lot of the bling from that. The only thing I need is basically so I can make my terminal window transparent when it's not active. I use Dunst. What do I use Dunst for? I don't even remember. nmapplet, I run nmapplet. This is the network manager applet. Variety is my manager for the background. The wallpaper manager. Blueberry Tray is the Bluetooth manager. Light locker, you need to start it to be able to use the LightDM's screen locker method. And I use Redshift. So when it's dark outside, then my monitor gets turned a little more red, and here I run the Xfce for panel. I think, what is Dunst for? I don't remember. Let's check with pacman -qi Dunst, Customizable lightweight. Oh, this is the notification daemon. Alright. So Dunst, I use Dunst to be able to receive desktop notifications. So for example, if you use transmission to download your latest Arch Linux ISO, it will notify you through Dunst that your download is completed. Things like that. And let's check out our X profile. So X profile, I also use X profile, but these are things that will be ran both for DWM and both for the other desktop environments. If you are using a window or a display manager. And so I use the Xfce ITX input method. So these 4 lines are for that, and the quantum and this desktop session export. These are for applying themes for quantum is for Qt applications, and desktop session like the GNOME session that will make my GTK applications follow the themes that I set up in the relevant applications. Which what are the relevant applications, you might ask? And for that question, I will have to look that up on the internet where I found that. And that is from a website that is literally called awesomeopensource.com. And I will leave a link to this page on the description so you can check this out, how to use the GTK theming. So for that, I think I just used the Alex Appearance program, and for Qt I installed this Quantum Qt5, and so this is what I did. I just and for that thing, which is if I go back to my X profile, so desktop session equals GNOME. That is, I don't know where I get this information from, but you need to do this too for things to work properly. And the other thing I wanted to show you is that, LightDM. So I use LightDM as my display manager and LightDM's, greeter to log in and choose my graphical environment between DWM and, what is the other thing? Cinnamon. And if you use this, then you can use Variety for managing your your wallpapers, because then Variety will work well. If you use X in it to start DWM, then Variety, you'll have to change the script for Variety to set the background. Here it's the default. If you run DWM from the display manager, then it will work automatically. And so I guess one more thing that I might want to show you is the setup of my panel. So you can find all the important information on the Xfce patch to set up all these things. But items, I use the application menu, separator, status tray plugin, separator, and clock. So these are all the things that I use in my panel preferences. And maybe if you want to take a look at my application menu setup here, I just chose the Arch Linux icon and just gave it a name, applications, and use default menu, show icons, and application description tooltip. You might want to switch it on, or maybe you don't. And that's it. That's my setup for DWM. It's been a long video, but I think I've showed you everything, even though, I didn't really give you big details. But if you are interested in the details, you can always ask about the specific things in the comment section. And maybe I can also show you a tutorial or a tutorial series, because this is really a lot of things to set up for one video if I wanted to set up everything in real time. But if you are interested in that kind of things, then we can discuss about that in the comment section. And if you want to be notified of the further videos, don't forget to subscribe, maybe even turn on the notification bell if you want to. Like the video, of course, you should like the video. And I will see you next time. Bye.